2 weeks ago, I met a man in his 80s that I've heard about for the last 3 years, but I'd never met him. This man's name is Stanley Dudrick. Stanley Dudrick is the uncle of our daughter Charity, got married a year and a half ago, and her husband, Dan, always talked about his uncle, the surgeon. They call him Stosh. And he's bigger than life to them. And I never Googled him or anything. I just heard about him. I heard he was a great surgeon. And then I heard that he was the guy who invented the IV. So if you ever went to the hospital and anybody ever a nurse stuck you with an IV and fed you, he invented that. In fact, I Googled him later after I met him. I thought, oh my goodness. He's called the Father of Intravenous Feeding. Saved 10 million babies' lives. And I sat with Stosh and with Stanley and I said, tell me your story. And he told me about his dream that he had when he was a young surgeon being trained to be a surgeon, and they had these wonderful operations on babies, and a week later the babies would die. And he said, I saw it happen so many times that one day I said to the head surgeon who was training me, why are they dying? Well, these are good surgeons. We're doing everything right. And the surgeon said, his boss said, because they're dying of starvation. They simply are dying because we fixed everything inside, but there wasn't enough time, for the whole digestive tract and everything to work. And they're dying of starvation. He said, couldn't you fix that? He said, we've tried. We don't know how to do it. He said, well, couldn't you use like an IV? Because they had used IVs for something, but they never fed through IVs. And he said, no, we tried that, it didn't work. He said, could I try? He's got this dream. He said, could I try? And he said, sure, try. So as soon as Stanley told me, kindest man, 80-some years of age, brilliant mind. He said, Larry, he said, here's what I did. I took 1 year. Here was his goal. I took 1 year. I read every book, every internet. There wasn't internet before internet. But every book, everything I could find, from every journal of medicine on this subject and this topic. Then he said, I took it next year and took rats in the laboratory and started feeding rats and trying to figure this out. The rats didn't work. He said, then I decided next year I'm going to take dogs. And I took one dog and I fed the dog good feed, dog food. And the other dog right next, I only used this intravenous feeding. There's lots of detail I'm leaving out. He said, and amazingly, both dogs grew at the same rate. And I was elated. I thought, we got it. He said, we can do this thing. So I went back to the doctors and said, we can do this. And they said, no, we're not going to try it. The babies will die. We're not taking a chance. He was devastated. He couldn't do the thing they knew he could do, and he came up to this roadblock. He said, there's a baby 3 pounds, 5 ounces in a hospital in the southern state, and the nurses and some of the doctors begged the main surgeon, couldn't we bring in, we heard about this Mr. Dudrick, this Dr. Dudrick, he has his breakthrough ideas, nobody believes him. Couldn't we bring him in? He said, no, we're not going to do that, the baby will die, we'll be responsible. He said, but then the surgeon, just automatically, he went to Europe, and he went on vacation for a month. And he said, the underlings called me and said, will you come and perform a surgery? And he said, when I got to the hospital, I met with everybody, and I said, you've got to be real clear about this. Unless you are with me on this, totally, you should not be involved in this process. And he said, and so it was only those, to use our terminology, who were people of faith. Right. And so they did it. And they did the surgery. And the baby started growing. And growing. In fact, we went on YouTube and saw him talking to this girl who was a baby years ago, talking to her and meeting her. And now, after all these years, 10 million children's lives have been saved. Because one man was willing to face the odds, face all the pressure, and I'm not even telling all the things that happened. And we see, and not just babies, but also millions of adults. Because one man was willing to follow a dream.
Think about that.
Amen. So I want to challenge us today